Welcome back to my channel. On today's video, we're going to be talking about the number one most asked question that I get, which is, what is your camera setup? What do you use? So without further ado, it's actually a Kodak disposable camera, believe it or not. Now you're thinking, how do you get those crazy images with a Kodak disposable camera? Well, literally, because of how low this camera can get to the ground, you could get those nice, beautiful angles. Now, I'm just messing with you guys. I actually use a Sony a7R II. Now, this is a full-frame mirrorless camera. It's 42 megapixels. It is ridiculous. Now, you do not need this camera if you're just starting off. I would recommend that you get a Sony a7 II, which is the camera I used to use before I got this camera. Now, that camera was more than enough. The only reason that I upgraded from that camera to this camera is because I wanted to have more megapixels and I wanted to be able to have more quality images to where if I zoom in and crop, I won't lose much of that data. This camera is amazing. If you've never shot with a Sony before, I highly recommend you go down to Best Buy and just, try it out or rent one for the weekend. I mean, I don't know, do whatever you want, but get your hands on one of these just to see what it's like. The live view feature, it is amazing. Just having that ability to look through the viewfinder and being able to see what your image is going to look like before you click the shutter is an amazing feature. If anything, it'll even help you learn to understand better what your f-stop should be, what your ISO should be, because you can see what the image is going to look like before you take it. Through my personal experience with this camera, I believe it's a lot better for cars. If you're taking photos of landscape, this camera is great. When it comes to skin tones and skin colors, I'm not the biggest fan of using this camera for people. I know I'm still learning and I'm still getting better and I'm trying to understand skin tones more here and there. It's just they seem very digitalized to me. So that's why I try to shoot cars more than anything. And I mean, that's basically what I do on the daily basis. So aside from a camera, you're obviously going to need lenses, and these are the three lenses that I use on a daily basis. I have the 35mm 1.4 Zeiss lens, I have the 70-200 G lens, and then I have a Rokinon 14mm 2.8. All these lenses do different stuff, and they have different weaknesses and different strengths, and I prefer to use a certain lens in a certain environment. I have some examples of my photos and my work with each particular lens that I use. So let's talk about the 35mm right now. This lens is insane. Basically, it's impossible to take a bad photo with this lens, whether it's product photography, whether it's interior shots, whether it's landscape, whatever you're doing, this is an amazing lens to own. It really impressed me, and being able to go down to a 1.4, you get some really amazing bokeh. The first photo I'm going to show you is taken of this BMW i8. This was out in Red Rock in Nevada, and you can clearly see how sharp this lens is. It is one of the most sharpest lenses that I own aside from my 70-200. With this lens, you're going to get beautiful backgrounds and you're going to get insane, incredible shots. I would highly recommend using this lens. The next shot that I want to show you guys is an interior shot. With this lens at 1.4, you're able to get super sharp, beautiful interior images. I had so many images to choose from. I just picked like the most recent ones that I've taken, and this is one of them. You can see how sharp this lens is. So my favorite and go-to lens is the 70-200 G series lens. This is a f4. So I did not get the G Master, which is a 2.8, but for car photography I think the 4 works just fine. So this is a great lens for many reasons. The number one reason why I like this lens is the compression that it gives the image. You basically make the car completely flat and the background just gets a super nice blur. My favorite shot to do with this lens is a straight on shot, the front of the car or the back of the car, whatever way you're facing the car. Let me show you a couple of examples that I've done with this lens. So example number one is this straight on shot of this sick wide body Lexus. Now, with this lens, if you're shooting a wide body car, it really accentuates how wide the car is because it flattens the car down and it really makes the car pop. This is also one of the sharpest lenses that I have. The next photo I'm going to show you is also of a wide body car. Now this is a wide body 458. Again, you could see how compressed the car is, how blurred the background is. Now, one other thing that the 70-200 is good for is detail shots. This is one detail shot that I've taken with this lens recently, and you can see how nice and crisp and clean that wheel looks. You can see all the details. It's just a great all-around lens. Another lens that I recently picked up is a 14mm. This is a manual focus. I highly recommend that you get the automatic focus one. Because of how wide this lens is, it's very hard to tell what's in focus and what isn't, even if you have peaking on. Stuff looks like it's in focus, but then when you bring it into your computer and you really look at it, it's not in focus. This lens is amazing for interior shots and for really dramatic car shots. Here's the first example I'm going to show you. It's of my friend's GTR, and you can see how dramatic this photo looks. You can see all of your surroundings. You can see the sky. You can see the curves of the car. It really feels like the car is just popping out right towards you. The next image I want to show you is of an interior shot with this lens. Now this is great for product photography, inventory photography. If you work at a car dealership or something and you really want to you really want to capture the interior, this is the lens to have. So again, awesome lens. I recommend you get the automatic focus one. So one topic in photography that always gets mixed emotions is CPLs. Should you use them? Should you not? Are they bad? Are they good? Now, through my personal experience, when it comes to automotive photography, you really want to have a CPL. I don't recommend you get a cheap one. If you're going to spend money on a CPL, it's very important that you spend a little bit more and get a higher quality one. Because if you get a cheap CPL, it will actually be nerfing your images and it could potentially make the quality a lot worse than it is already. And that happened to me. The first time I got a CPL, I got a really cheap one and I did not like it, and I felt like my photos were coming out worse quality than they should have been. So the CPL that I recommend is B+W F Pro. I'm actually going to have a link in the description to my full camera setup so that you guys can see exactly what items they are, and you can even buy them from that link, I believe. So the CPL is super important. The reason you want a CPL when you're doing automotive photography is to get rid of reflections. Sometimes you'll position the car in a weird way and you'll just have the reflections of everything that's out of the frame on the side of the car, and it's super distracting. That's one thing that you really want to get rid of in your photos. And not only that, you also want a CPL so that you can get rid of glare from the sun. So if you're shooting on a really sunny day, a CPL will really help get rid of some of those glares and reflections off the car. When you're doing night photography, you should be using a tripod, or if you're light painting, you should be using a tripod. That I use is a Newer. It's a carbon fiber tripod. It's only $100. You don't need to go crazy spending money on a tripod. Super lightweight, super durable. It's just a great tripod. It even doubles as a monopod. So I would highly recommend you guys look into this. It's also going to be in the link. And then the carry bag that I use, $40 bag. You don't need to go crazy spending money on a camera bag. People are buying $200 bags. I don't understand why, but whatever. This one was $45, I think. It has all your compartments. It has everything you could possibly need in a camera bag. Super light, and it's comfortable. I use it all the time. It fits all of my lenses and my camera and then some. So you could throw a laptop in here, whatever you need. Highly recommend you guys get this bag too. So I just want to say thank you so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share this video. If you guys have any other questions, please comment them below. Feel free to DM me on Instagram or send me a message on Facebook if you have any other questions. So the link to everything that I showed you guys today is going to be down in the description, and I'll see you guys next time.